Hey guys, welcome to another video, another celestial tour. So in this video, I am going to talk about what an Earth-like exoplanet would need to be habitable. So I talked about what an exoplanet is in the size comparison video. It is basically a planet that is outside the solar system. Basically, the thing I am going to talk about in this video is 10 properties that shows that an exoplanet is in the habitable zone. So this video might include some chemistry and biology. Just want to inform you, because to say the properties, I would have to use the overall scientific terms. So let's just jump right in. Property number 1. It should be in the Goldilocks zone. Now, first of all, a Goldilocks zone is a place where the average temperature of a planet is neither too hot or too cold. It is just right. You probably understood this from the famous Goldilocks and the Three Bears story, where the character Goldilocks secretly gets into a house of three bears and drinks each of their soup and complains about the soups being too hot and too cold. Then after tasting the last one, she says that it is just right. And that's exactly what a Goldilocks zone is. If you were living in a too hot zone, then you would burn, and a too cold zone, you would freeze. But Earth is exactly right. For example, in winter it becomes cold, and in summer it becomes hot. And the temperature is better than a planet that is too extreme. So since Earth is in the Goldilocks zone, it can be hot and cold, and it is at the right place from the sun. That means a planet in a Goldilocks zone would be Earth-like. Property number 2. The atmosphere should include the things Earth's atmosphere includes. The thing that makes Earth's atmosphere habitable is it is actually not made out of mostly oxygen, but nitrogen, because if it was only made out of all oxygen, then we would burn, since oxygen is flammable. And don't forget that oxygen can make an iron material rust. But also, oxygen is the gas we breathe, obviously. Without oxygen, humans and animals can't be living. So the oxygen used in the atmosphere is just right. 21% of the atmosphere is made out of oxygen, and 78% is made out of nitrogen, and the rest of the 1% is other gases. So nitrogen basically covers up the air on Earth, and it is used a lot in the human body. For example, in digestion, it converts proteins to amino acids. It is also needed for nucleic acids, which forms DNA and RNA. And it is used in many more uses, since it covers up the 78% of the atmosphere. So as you can see, the gases in the atmosphere of Earth are so important for us to live. And the thickness of the atmosphere too. The atmosphere is 1,000 kilometers thick. Now, Mars does have an atmosphere too, but since it is very thin and it is mostly made out of carbon dioxide, it is not really possible that Mars is in the habitable zone. Now, carbon dioxide, as you know, is a greenhouse gas, like methane. And the greenhouse gases are the main reason why there are climate changes. So as you can see, it is pretty harmful for the planet, even if it is not used in the atmosphere. So that's why an exoplanet should have an atmosphere like Earth's. At least it should include most of its properties. That's why an exoplanet, a habitable exoplanet, should have an atmosphere like Earth's. Property number 3. It should support substances that helps people to live, like water. So as you know, water is chemically combined with hydrogen and oxygen atoms, so it is a compound. Without water, an average human can't live more than 3 days without water, because water is a substance that strongly helps people to live on a planet. These substances also can be elements besides compounds. Like I said in property number 2, nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen are all important elements for a person to live on a planet. So basically, the exoplanet should include elements and compounds that helps people to live. For example, Venus has sulfuric acids that can literally burn you instantly, so you would not want to go there. Property number 4. The surface should be a solid and liquid. Now the Earth is pretty much made out of solid and liquid. If it was made out of entirely solid, there wouldn't be water. If it was made out of entirely liquid or gas, there wouldn't be a surface for us to walk on. For example, you can't expect to walk on gas giants like Jupiter and Saturn, because there isn't a proper surface on a gas giant. Property number 5. It must revolve. The exoplanet should revolve around a star, like the Earth does around the Sun. If it is out of order, then there is no way it would be habitable. That is also another reason why the Earth is in the Goldilocks zone, because its revolution causes the 4 seasons with different temperatures. Property number 6. It must have a magnetic field. The magnetic field is formed from the molten metal core of Earth. The magnetic field is very important because it protects the Earth from harmful radiation, like ultraviolet radiation. Also, it protects Earth from solar storms caused by the sun. Another thing is that the compasses work by the magnetic field of Earth. A compass is like a magnet. It is a magnet. The North Poles and the South Poles are just like the magnets with North Poles and South Poles. If the compass faces to the north, it means that the magnetic force is pointing north by the help of the magnetic field. Property number 7. It should have a proper mass and gravity. A planet with a low mass can't be habitable because low mass also means low gravity. However, Earth is just right, and that is why Earth is habitable in that way too. A low gravity means that the planet wouldn't also have an atmosphere. Atmosphere made out of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, sulfuric acids, doesn't matter. There just wouldn't be an atmosphere squished at the top of the planet by the help of gravity. And we would keep on jumping. Property number 8. It should be in the right place. For it to be in the Goldilocks zone, it should first be in the right place. For example, Venus is too close to the Sun, so it is the hottest planet in the solar system. And the ice giants, Uranus and Neptune, are too far, so they're the coldest planets in the solar system. However, Earth is the third planet from the Sun, so this makes Earth habitable with either being a cold planet or a hot planet. It is just right. However, the size and luminosity of the star the planet is orbiting around is important too. If the Sun was larger, Uranus would be the Earth of the solar system, so it also depends on the star too. Property number 9. It must orbit around the star. Like I said in property number 5, the planet should orbit around the star. If a planet doesn't have a power source, then it wouldn't be habitable. Basically, the explanation of this property is that if the planet does not orbit a star, forget about it being habitable. And finally, the last property number 10. It may include an intelligent life. Now, this property is not a must, but I think that it is pretty logical, because a habitable planet would also include some species to live on it, if it is a livable place. The reason why there are humans and other living beings on Earth is because this planet is habitable. And also, the universe is incredibly big with the quadrillions of stars and billions of galaxies. So there's no way we are alone in this huge universe. It is the end of the video. So I basically talked about properties that show an exoplanet is habitable and colonizable. I hope you learned something from the video and enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and stay astronomical.